metal when I'm getting to the bag. Ayy, got the foot on the gas. Pedal to the metal when the lane moving fast. Ayy, ayy, let them all cross. If they hate, then let them hate and make a bigger boss. Ayy.
This episode is brought to you by SPI Logistics, the premier freight agent logistics firm in North America. For over 40 years, SPI has been diligently building the most successful freight agent network to provide first-class relationships for our shippers, receivers, and carrier partners. We are more than another transportation network. We are a dedicated team of professionals united by one singular purpose, and that is to expedite our agents' success. All of our agents are set up for success on day one, as they are provided with a full suite of support staff that is ready to assist them with everything from after-hours emergencies to financial and administrative needs on a no-fee basis. This way, you can focus on continuing to grow your business. There is no financial risk to start, and you have the ability to earn up to 75% in commissions. If you are looking to take control of your financial future and build your business with the backing of one of the most successful logistics firms in North America, visit www.spi3pl.com to learn more. Do me a favor and let them know that the Freight Coach sent you.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Podcast, the top podcast in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines. But most importantly, you guys, provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. And I do say that before every single show. And what I mean by that is I only speak with transportation professionals, because at the end of the day, I want to talk to the right individuals who have done what you're looking to do or who are currently doing what you're trying to achieve, so you can take that information, apply it, utilize it, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. Happy Wednesday, everybody. I got a very special guest for you guys here today. I'm going to bring him up in a second, but I do got to drop this announcement at the beginning of the show. Today, we released our weekly newsletter. All right, it just comes out once a week. I don't auto-sign people up for it, frankly, because I don't know how to do that, and I wouldn't pay for the software that it would be required to do stuff like that. So if you want to get in on it, it drops every single Wednesday. All I need you to do, though, is go to thefreightcoach.com. It'll auto prompt you to register for it. My team has access to that information. I don't even know who signed up for it. So I'm not trying to take it and collect it, because they handle all of that stuff. I just want to have another avenue to add value to you guys in the industry. So we talk about all things trucking, rates, fuel prices, all of that stuff. And it's just once a week. So if you want to get in on it, go to thefreightcoach.com. Speaking of reality, my guest today is going to deliver a lot of reality for you guys out there. And there's a lot of doom and gloom in the industry at all times. And it's going to continue to be that way, because shock jock mentality is very real out there. And I have my good friend, Greg Finnerty, back on the show to talk about some stuff. So Greg, go Bills, first and foremost.
Go Bills. Big win. Big win.
Dude, I just hope you guys take out the Chiefs in the playoffs.
That's the dream we're all looking for. Didn't feel great about yesterday with the trade deadline and no moves made, but as we say in Buffalo, trust the process.
Exactly. Be good, do good, go Bills, right? That's Josh Allen. That's the MO, man. So I mean, speaking of, being good and doing good, how's everything going on up in your neck of the woods there, man? How's the market? Everybody wants to know, when's it going to change, what's going on, but like, how are you continuing to approach this stuff?
Well, as of recently, I think, you're trying to always gear towards growth, right? If you're not growing, you're dying, the old saying. But I think a lot of that comes in self-reflection. I had a colleague of mine reach out to me the other day, and he's like, let's talk about, everybody wants to say what they're doing good, what they're doing great, what they're awesome at. Let's talk about what we're shitty at.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about where our 5 biggest problems are. Let's talk about where we totally effing fail.
Yeah.
Let's go through those. What's our logic there? What is holding us back? And it takes a lot of self-reflection there. It takes a lot of accountability for yourself to actually admit it, to actually put it into paper and think through those answers. Especially at times like this, especially where the world wants you to believe that we're entering the shittiest part of history we've ever been in.
Yeah.
I'll liken it to a Bills game, right? It's going to fucking snow, dude. It's going to snow.
Yeah.
Your playbook has to be able to maneuver in that snow, right?
Yeah.
And you have to be able to adjust. So looking through those things and self-reflecting, I think, is where we are now as a company to gear towards growth and to really be confident in putting out value not only as people, not only as a company, but to the customers and the carriers that we serve.
Yeah, we honestly took the exact same approach that you guys did here. Recently, we just completed our 3rd year, right? We were a cold start 3 years ago. We had 0 customers, 0 revenue. And within those 36 months, we grew up and we did our first million in a year, right? Like we did, a million, it was like $1.1 million in top line revenue in a 12-month period in our last fiscal year. And that came with, 76% growth year over year. And then on top of that, like 70% of it was from existing customers. And, we are looking at our processes though, Greg, and we're like, hey, we're good at some things, but like we also missed the mark on a lot of stuff because like what's not talked about out there on social media and stuff like that is when you're building anything, stuff is going to fall to the wayside as you're growing your business, right? Yeah. And when you go from not having revenue to having revenue, where's your focus going to naturally be? On your revenue to try and grow that. And then you're going to iron out a lot of those kinks and you're going to get those systems in place and you're going to realize, hey, we have a little bit more time on our hands. How do we 10X this though? And then it's looking at those weaknesses inside of our operation. And, as much of cold calling and stuff that we were doing, we weren't doing it as consistently because again, we were servicing our accounts and we had to get more organized. And that's one area that we did. And we've spent the last couple of weeks getting highly organized in that. We've deployed that out there because we got to capture more business. Like I'm like my honest assessment of where the freight market is and where it continue to go is I don't care. I'm going to
I 100% agree, right? I 100% agree with that.
Because freight's still moving. There's a lot of stuff. There's opportunities that are out there. But, I think that there's just such a fallacy about how easy this is supposed to be. And I don't think people actually understand how hard it is to build anything of substance to grow and scale. I think a lot of people overlook how hard it actually is to do that. And again, you only see the highlight reels out there. There's one of two camps on the internet, the highlight reel and holy fuck, everything's crashing and burning and world ending.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, in a lot of companies now, and with technology, I think you're getting a lot of data views and understanding that you probably didn't have. But I think what data is powerful. Data is amazingly powerful. But what it doesn't do is give you experience, right? And like what you're talking about, like knowing when to lean in, knowing when to step back, knowing when to trust your lanes, knowing when to trust your people, knowing those things, and being able to put them in the positions to do that. Yes, data should set that up, but like expect a failure. Because it's gonna fucking happen, right? Like nobody knows failure better than a fucking Buffalo Bills fan. I can tell you that right now. But when you keep going at it and you have that determination and you keep pushing and you keep pushing, you're gonna stack those wins. You're gonna stack that daily discipline it takes to get over that hump. You're gonna say, I didn't look at this last time. Now I'm gonna look at it.
Yeah.
These are the problems that I keep having, and what got you there isn't going to get you here. You know what I mean? Like all that comes into play, and it's in it, cliches as cliches are, they're fucking true, or they wouldn't be said a million times.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%, Greg. It's that realization that, like when it comes down to cold, like selling, for example, like, I mean, I'll say, man, I am great on the phone. But I still lead to a ton of rejection. But here's the thing. The overwhelming majority of the people out there are extremely cordial. They feed off of your energy. So if you're going in there and your understanding of it, like if somebody tells me, no, we're good right now and everything else, like I don't argue with them. I'm like, all right, cool. Have a great day. Thank you for the information. And I move on. I'm not going to be like, well, your entire operation sucks and I'm better than everybody else. And but that's a sales strategy that people think is a winning strategy.
Yeah, it's 100%, right? And it makes it leaves the person on the other line. I mean, being a freight broker, you have vendors that are calling you, and the ones that you want to work with, and the ones that are pushy that you don't want to, you avoid in a fucking hallway.
Yeah. No, and that's it.
So yeah, no, I agree, man. I mean, but with all the talk of the doom, the gloom, the this, that, like volatility does one thing really well, and it creates opportunity. And it's recognizing where you can fill the gap and use what you've already done, use your business model, use your people to the best of their abilities, play their strengths to create that opportunity to really dive in and find out if you're the right fit for that customer. Because guess what? You're not going to be the right fit for every customer.
Correct. No, and I think that's a really valuable lesson to be learned earlier than later, is that you're not going to be it for everybody. And but frankly, you don't want to be that,
No.
I think to put it into context, I think you're going to make thousands of calls that are out there. And if you can onboard 5 customers that value the service that you can grow, that you provide, and then you can grow and scale with them, that's all you need. Yes. But then to break it down in even more simpler terms, and this is the only way I know how to build anything, is it's just one customer at a time mentality. Hey, you get somebody, there's going to be a big trial and error period that kind of comes along because you're kind of feeling each other out. And then you find out what works, you find out what doesn't, and then you go on and you try and get that next customer. And then it's just that rinse and repeat mentality where it's I see a lot of spray and pray out there of we're going to call everybody, we're going to offer everything. And I get it, right? If you're a mature organization, you guys have been around for a very long time, Greg. Yeah. You guys have a lot better capabilities of maybe going after dry reefer flatbed, for example. But for those individuals that are starting out from scratch, there's enough opportunity in there. You just need to choose one thing to really get that revenue going and building that up. And then, maybe when you're doing 20, 30, 40 million a year, maybe then you're hey, let's start going after this stuff at that time. But I just feel people overcomplicate it. And if people out there who are listening or anything like me, I have a great one-track mind. See, spot, run. That's my methodology with this stuff, where it's do this, say this, take this action. And then that is the best way that I've found to systemize a lot of this stuff.
Yeah. And I think too, listen, you brought up there's going to be failures, there's going to be that. But when you show up in hard times, that's what people remember.
Correct.
When things are not easy, that's what people remember, because everybody's out there promising to make it easier, right? That's just the name of the game. That's sales, right? If you're with us, it's going to be a lot easier. And we do offer that, right? We want you to feel that way. But shit's going to hit the fan. And that's going to be with us. That's going to be with you. That's going to be with anybody out there. So how is that company then going to react to that? Is that oh, well, sorry, this is really screwed up, we're out of here, right? Yeah. Or is it, all right, we're leaning in. What do we need to do to make this right? How do we show up for you? How do we show up for the carriers? How do we show up for our people and make sure that there is a light at the end of the tunnel and we're all driving towards it?
Yeah. With everything that's going on in the industry right now, Greg, what hasn't changed about logistics and freight, right? Because there's a lot of people out there who are oh, it's not the same, everything's different, this and that, and everything under the sun. But you've been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
What hasn't changed, even in this market?
I think relationships. And like I said, this industry, more than a lot, is built on blue collar work. It's built on salt of the earth people getting down, getting dirty, getting in business, and just rocking and rolling. And tough times are not, good times are really good. Tough times are really fucking tough. Yeah. And I think it boils down to who can you count on to be there, and what kind of a relationship you have. And that takes time, and that takes consistency, and that takes learning, and all those things. But that's where I think this industry hasn't changed. At the end of the day, you pick up a piece of freight, you move it from A to B, and you try to do it with as least disruptions as humanly possible, right?
Yeah.
That's not all in your control, unfortunately, right? And where I think a lot of the interaction we see today, and listen, we've got great tech partners that I rely on in many, many different ways. But I think at the end of the day, it's the trust and the relationship that will always drive this business to where it needs to go.
Yeah, it's, I look at it as technology it's phenomenal out there. And we use a lot of great tech partners inside of our operation as well. But I think there's kind of an over reliance on it. And then it's also the scapegoat of a lot of organizations where they're oh, hey, we implemented this tech. Why did this not happen? It's well, and I say this quite frequently, you can have great technology, but if you have shitty processes, you have automated shitty processes.
It don't matter. Yeah, no. And that's, you can have a great idea. If you don't act on it, it doesn't work. Right? All those things are the same. Yeah, I completely agree. And how is the tech enabling your team? How is it putting input through? How are you making better decisions because of it? Like I said, all those things are great, and data is super powerful, and it should lead you in the right direction. But the action eventually falls on the person to make sure that it happens, whether that's 100 people or one person, whatever the case may be, or however you run your business. That's where it ends up falling on, and that's why I always go back to the relationship piece, whether it be the customer or the carrier, which, you know what I mean, they're both customers of brokers, right? Mm-hmm. And are you treating them with a wow factor every time every time you interact with them? Are they the most important person in the room every time you interact with them? Because quite frankly, they are, both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
No, I wholeheartedly agree with that, Greg. And I think that's kind of something that falls between the wayside at times. And I'm never going to sit up here and put myself on a pedestal and say I've never done anything wrong in my life, because I've done plenty of stuff. I have a PhD in what not to do.
Yeah.
Because I've seen the alternatives kind of play out over time. But when it comes down to onboarding a new customer in any freight market, what are those things that haven't changed? Because I feel like, there's a lot of people who chase logos. And then I think there's also a fallacy out there that like every customer operates off of an RFP and everything's contracted rates and everything else. What are some of those things that when you're out there building a book of business that hasn't changed?
I guess for us, I mean, we've the RFPs and stuff like that, that's not where our business lies, right? We've been around for almost 40 years coming up, in 38 years right now. I've been here for 25 solid years. In October was my beginning of my 26th year.
Heck yeah.
Dealing with the customer in a way that you meet them where they are and show them your capabilities and show them that you're there, and don't chase the noise, right? Don't chase that big logo, but you have to be, to me, it's always going to be where do they fit? Where do you fit them and where do they fit you? And if that relationship isn't on the same level, if one's more than the other, you're going to be chasing your tail all over the place, right? Either your guys are not going to value them because they're under where you would want to be, or you're under where they want you to be, and they just shit on you all over the place. Right? And that's it's not, I'm not putting anything against anybody bad or anything like that. That's just human nature, but that's the reality. It's finding that like symbiotic relationship that meets in the middle and really truly becomes partners instead of this is my broker, right? And I've heard that term go round and round for the last 25 years, where it was like, I'm a freight broker, I was proud to be, and then it was like, in a little while it was like, I'm a freight broker, now it's back, and it's like we were coming up with, I'm a 3PL, I'm a 4PL, I'm a 6PL. It's like, be what you are, be who you are, find out who's like you in that instance, and it doesn't have to be your same philosophies, but who drives their business the same way. What are they built on? I think that's where we thrive when we onboarding a carrier on a customer or a carrier, right? Diving in, understanding their needs, and really finding out where we can be a piece of their business and a partner to them.
Yeah, I think that, from a business development perspective, maybe it's just my perspective is different than others, but like I just view it as like not all business is going to be good business. No. And I've been doing this freight long enough, but again, I'm not an entrepreneur expert or anything like that, but I've been self-employed now for going on 6 years, and I've seen really what a really good customer looks like, and I've seen what a not so good customer looks like. And so like my perspective is different, where it's like I kind of look at it as if they're a spot market only style shipper, that's fine with me. I don't need an RFP. I don't need EDI. I don't need any of that stuff. I want to work with people who, are like, they just like what you said earlier, Greg, they meet where, I meet them where they're at, but like, I want to actually have like partnerships with these individuals. And I've worked with some of the largest logos that are out there. And I know how some of them approach their transportation spend. They just go top, bottom, eliminate, keep the middle, and then rinse and repeat. And it's really tough. And this isn't everywhere, but again, maybe I'm just old school with a lot of my approach, where it's like, man, I like getting to know people on like a personal level, because work is just a small component of who I am as a man. And, and we don't have to be best friends, but like, I've just found that some shippers out there is it is a complete business transaction. They don't care about anything else. And again, to each their own. I just don't want that inside of my book of business. I want to go with the people who are like, yeah, dude, come on, swing by. Let's have lunch together. Let's hang out a little bit. Not going to be there all day, but like, let's actually get to know each other a little bit more. And that's just the style of relationships that I like to attract inside of my business.
Same thing, right? Like you said it at the beginning, but be good, do good, go Bills, right? Like that's who I want to do business with, right? The people that want to be good, do good, and go move some freight, right? That's who I want to employ in my office. That's who I want to bring onto my team. That's who we want to partner with in vendors. Like, are they matching? And the business model doesn't have to match, but like, are their values pretty much the same? Because that's really where you're going to find it, right? And I think that's like, are yours dialed out enough to know who you are and what you want to be? And is that driving you? Because you can be a good person and do really well, right? You don't have to be an asshole to get ahead in life.
Yeah,
and I think that's right at all, right? So I think that's really where like you start to see some differences of opinions, and I think that's really where who's chasing a dollar and who's chasing life, right? And who wants to be in life.
When did that perspective shift for you, Greg? Like when you had that moment where you're like, you know what, I'm just going to unapologetically be myself, because I feel like that's a natural progression for a lot of people. I know for me, it was probably like 5 years ago where I'm like, I'm fucking done. Like putting on a facade. Like I am who I am. It's going to attract people that I want to be around. And if you don't, no harm, no foul. But like, I guess I apply a pretty simple principle where it's like, I would rather lose a customer for telling them the truth than keep one on a lie. Yep. And that's just the way that I'm really going to go about this is I know that, I mean, dude, even this podcast, I've heard from, a decent amount of people. They're like, hey man, like, I just don't like the language we use on your show. Okay. No harm, no foul, but that's not my target audience. And
same, right? I think to dive into your question, I want to say like probably around like 2015, I went from being on the floor full time to kind of taking a leadership role here at Concept. And I think that's where I kind of like found myself, right? Where I needed to elevate my game and be unapologetic for it, and really have a good understanding of people. I feel like I've always been pretty confident in who I am, but I think like be who I am, and I don't have to change that. I don't have to fit somebody's mold, because I think that's one thing I've never been able to do, quite honestly. But yeah, no, I think that's really where it kind of was a wake up call for me. It was like, I need to be a better person, and I need to be, by doing that, I can't lose who I am. And I think that's what it kind of cemented itself for me.
Do you think that stuff attracts the right business and the right type of people you want to do business with? Is like when you wear, I guess you call it like you wear your emotions on your sleeve, right? Like there's no questioning who Greg is as a person. And, and that's kind of that's what I really want to come out, whether it's, through this show or when I'm cold calling people. I want them to feel that my intent and my intentions are like pure, and I'm not here to, try and game over anybody. And I know that takes time, but like, I just look at it as once you stop the act, and I think everybody knows what I'm describing there. Once you stop the act and you're just like, yeah, you know what, I'm just going to push forward and build this up one day at a time, one call at a time and stuff like that. I think like you start to see actual progress in there. But like most importantly though, you find the right customers to work with, regardless of what's going on in the market.
Well, I think you stop searching for their answer and you know it, right? Again, that comes with experience, right? That comes with doing things over and over and seeing a lot of things. But I think you stop looking for the answer and you start to say, I have the answer, right? And that could be a little bit different in everybody's path or vision or whoever they are. But like when you're always constantly looking like, I need to find an answer to this, as opposed to like, I have an answer to this. And that answer might be you don't know, but but the fact of it is, I think, is when you really start to change that, like, oh, I've got to be this for this, and you start to self-reflect and say, I can be me for this. And I think that's when it really starts to hone in. I think that's when you start to get the customers that you intended on when you started a business, because I think that at least, and it sounds like you and I are very aligned on, we did this for a couple of things, right? One, for ourselves to provide for our families and to, our own little slice of the American dream. I think there's, once you start employing people, it's how do you facilitate their growth, not only as employees and for the business, but as people, and helping them along with their lives and watching people have kids and all that kind of stuff. I think that's where you got to latch on to. That's what makes me feel good anyway, as far as like my philosophy goes, is like, I'm doing this for me. Yes. But what's more important is I see these people and I see my family grow and be better every day.
I think what you said there is overlooked by a lot of people. I think there's more value in knowing what not to do than to do, and knowing what you can't do and kind of like your limits on stuff, because it kind of ties back into what I was saying earlier. Like, I'd rather lose a customer for telling them the truth than keep one on a lie. And like, I just want, like, I'm comfortable. I know what we're doing. I know what we're going after. I know what we're building. And that comes across in my outreach. And I'm just not going to corner myself. Like, there's a big difference between taking a reckless risk and a calculated risk, right? Yep. And I like that's a very blurred line that's out there, where there's a lot of people who are like, just roll the dice. And I am very much one of those, just roll the dice as long as it fits inside of this parameter.
Correct. Yeah. Like,
your reputation will follow you.
Yes, 100%. Right. And I think what you said there was really good there. And I think that's super important. It's like it will follow you. It will bring you to where you are, and you will find, your business path through all that. In any market, in any situation, in any kind of circumstance, you will be able to latch onto that, settle into a rhythm, really be able to let go of like a perfectionism type of, right? Because I'm assuming, but that's where, like, when I got into leadership, I tasked myself to like perfectionism.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right. To like, okay, it's got to be this way. It's got to be this way. And it just can't be like, and it's got to be the way it is, but in your plan, in your framework, you know what I mean? Like a snow game in Buffalo, baby. It's like, we've got to be able to have a playbook that can facilitate any weather.
What's one thing, as we're kind of wrapping up here this morning, Greg,
Yeah.
What's one piece of advice you would give out there to people who are, maybe they're struggling to grow their business right now, or, they're just struggling with the overall market in general, as we're going into 2026? What's one piece of advice you want people to kind of run with here?
Find what keeps it simple for you, what keeps it progressing, and build those wins over and over again. Like, keep it simple, silly, right? Yeah. Keep it there, and yeah, you might not go 10x in a year, but you're going to go 10x in 3 to 5, because the market is going to do what the market does. So detach yourself from all that, find where you're good at, play your strengths, and keep it simple and move forward. Always be moving forward.
That's so key. It's so key, man. And it aligns 100% with the post I put out there this morning, Greg, where I'm like, you got to run your own race. Like, there's always noise. There's always distractions. There's always something out there that's going to throw you off your game. It's just, what's the flavor of the week or the month and everything else. And there's always going to be something. And it's like, I just think that if you can detach, as easy as it is to say and hard to apply, if you can detach yourself from everything other than your four walls, your outputs and everything else. So like, dude, if I could go back and tell my younger self anything, it would be just that. Like, start paying attention to your outputs only. Who cares what anybody else is doing? 99% of the people are overinflating what they're actually accomplishing out there. And you just try and get a little bit better every single day.
Yep. And that's been exacerbated in the last couple of years with social media and everything like that, right? Like doom and gloom, or good and bad, like how we started the show. But that's it. Like, concentrate on yourself. That's who you're beating every day. That's who you're playing.
Yeah.
Right. You're playing yourself every day and trying to beat who you were yesterday.
No, that's it. Greg, thank you so much for your time today, man.
Thank you,
How
buddy.
do we reach out to you guys? Are you guys hiring or anything like that? How can people?
Yeah, we will be. Just my email is gfinnerty@conceptintl.com. You can go to our website as well, and conceptlogistics.com, and hit up get a consultation or anything you want. Well, it'll go to the right email, and we'll get it all. So if you guys want to reach out, be happy to. I'm on LinkedIn as well. Look me up, and I'd love to chat, whoever needs to.
Perfect. Greg, I appreciate your time. Thank you guys so much. If you guys got value in what you heard, which I know you did, and you're not subscribed, subscribe to the show, you guys. And if you're feeling ambitious, rank it on iTunes and Spotify, because if you see value, your network's going to see it as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Came back with a bang. Window down, yelling out money, anything. Ayy, ooh, got the foot on the gas. Pedal to the metal when I'm getting to the